This is the wildflower meadow where we were cutting the other week. This tool that I'm now using here is a very easy bulb planter, and it's just lifting me out a core. I can then drop my Camassia bulb inside, dig out another core, which then gives me my first core back to drop in. Very, very simple, very, very easy. If we were doing a lot, thank you Lil, if we were doing a lot, we'd probably dig a hole first, but this is a very, very simple and effective, leave it, good girl. Simple and effective way of planting single bulbs and just dotting a few extras through the meadow. So when we come back to this in the spring, you should see quite a bit of cover and flowers. And the bees always appreciate the early flowers before the wildflower then starts kicking in, which tends to be April. The bulb planter, if you look at the back here, has actually got a gauge which will tell me how deep I'm planting each of the bulbs. So this is quite a nice one really. So if we were planting alliums, we'd want to be about 6 inches deep. So it'd be almost right up to the top past the gauge. But most of the daffodils we tend to plant at about 4 inches deep. Tulips we tend to plant at about 6. And if they were smaller bulbs, if they were snowdrops, then we'd be about 2 to 3 inches, something like that, which is basically on average. Easiest thing to do is to think 3 times the depth of the bulb. So if your bulb's an inch, 3 inches deep. If your bulb's 2 inches, plant it 6 inches deep. Very easy rule of thumb. Last week we did quite a bit of pruning and shaping down here, so I thought we'd just take you through. On the way through again, you can see in a week the change in the colour. Still looking absolutely stunning, but now what we've started to do, because it becomes very hard, so all the copper beech that I've now labelled up so that when we're lifting over the winter, which won't be that long, towards the end of this month, we can tell what's copper and what's green. So a simple trick, but because we grow things side by side, green beech, copper beech, but my white labels are my double check, because although the leaves are slightly darker when they've both turned, it can be very, very difficult to tell them apart. So we always label them just before the colour fades completely. My eldest daughter's come up this afternoon because she wants to have a pot of tulips on a balcony at home. So what I've just done here is I've prepared a mix of coarse sand, compost and topsoil. So it's ready for our planter. We're going to plant into just a standard black planting pot. Abby, I know, has got an empty, more ornamental pot at home. So she will drop this pot straight inside when it's ready to go. But it will provide us with some nice flowers for next spring. Abby has just got me some drainage material for the very bottom of the pot. This is the pot we're planting up for you, Abs.
Is it supposed to have holes that big?
Yep, holes are for drainage, which is very important. So just to show you the drainage holes at the bottom. Because tulips like it free draining, we've actually mixed into here sand and compost and soil. So it's quite free draining. The stones you've just got me, or the gravel basically, we're just going to put a couple of inches in the bottom there for drainage, which is going to help it drain even better.
Okay.
So that's very important so the bottom of the pot doesn't sit with too much water, which would cause the pots to rot.
So does it matter how many rocks? Is it just
You want a couple of inches. We could probably actually do with a few more stones if that's possible. Abby lives in a flat, so she's got a balcony, but she doesn't then have
not got a garden shed.
A garden shed, unfortunately. In there now, we've got the drainage layer. So if I go down, we've got the drainage layer, and I've just put a couple of inches at the bottom, and we're approximately 6 inches deep in the bottom there. Just to show you an example, there's 3 lots of bulbs we're going to be planting into this pot for Abby. If I just unload at the side, and I can show you.
In your pocket.
I do.
True gardener.
This time of year. You are going to have in this pot 5 surprises.
Okay.
Which are the ones that
Came from last year.
So I'm just going to sit those down right at the bottom. When you look at your bulb, the pointy end is going to be where the growth is going to come from. The flat end is the roots. It doesn't matter too much if you get them the wrong way up, but ideally that's the flat end, and the pointy end there is going to be the growth tip. So I'm just pushing them in at about 6 inches deep. Okay.
6 inches from the top of the pot.
From the top of the pot. If you were planting them in the border, exactly the same. As a rough rule of thumb, your bulbs want to be planted approximately 3 times the depth of the bulb.
Oh, okay.
So that's the simplest way of thinking about it. With tulips, these are new tulips. This is a new one that's been grown for this year that we've just brought in. This is one called Grand Perfection, which is a lovely white and red streak to the flowers. This is Tulip Grand Perfection, and I'm now going to put a layer of these into this pot.
Are you limited by how many you put in one pot?
In a 12-inch pot, which is approximately what we're looking at now,
Yeah.
I would have said, to get a decent show, about a dozen bulbs.
Oh, so that many?
Yeah, and the other thing we're going to do with this particular one is we're going to layer it. So again, these are easier. This is this year's bulbs, so you can see your flat end and your pointy growth end. So it's much easier to see which way to plant. What you'll find is there's a big range of bulbs out there for spring colour, but the best time to plant tulips is going to be from November through to, we plant quite often up till Christmas. We have actually stored and planted into January in the past, and they'll still flower. These will be flowering late April, early May up here.
Okay.
In a very mild early start of the season, they could be in flower from the end of March, early April. The biggest thing now over the winter is the fact that these bulbs are going to put down roots.
Yeah.
And as they put down roots, they'll then start sending the shoots up. So
okay.
in that pot now, we've got, ideally you don't want them touching, but we've got nicely spaced out, there's a dozen bulbs which are going to push their heads through.
Okay.
And
you're
then,
quite firm with pushing them in, does that make any difference?
No, doesn't make too much. The key thing is the depth,
Yeah.
and again it's what you're using. So we're using quite a gritty, open compost soil mix with an extra bit of sand. The tulips obviously have gone in at about 6 inches deep. These are scented daffodils. This is one called Quail. And with the daffodils, we tend to plant them again about 3 times. So if you look at the size of the pot there,
Yeah.
1, 2, that wants to be just literally pushed down. So it's about 4 inches deep.
Can I try one?
Yep.
So flat end at the bottom.
Flat end at the bottom.
Squish it down.
Perfect.
There?
Yep.
Okay.
Help
Keep
yourself.
going.
Yep.
So 2 to 3 centimetres away from each other?
Yep, that's ideal.
Keep going.
Basically, the idea with these, because these bulbs were flower earlier, what we've done is you'll find the tulip shoots will actually grow up around the daffodils. So these are dwarf daffodil quail, as I say, which is a lovely scented one. These will probably flower end of March, early April, and then towards the end of April, early May, your tulips will then push through, so you'll have a succession of flowers that will then come through.
Ah, okay. So you never have an empty pot?
Yeah.
Okay. One more?
Yep. Back there somewhere. Perfect. The idea is ideally not to the touching.
Yeah.
Basically, if you've got 2 bulbs touching, then there's more chance if one gets rot of it spreading to the other one. Quite often we'll dig a hole when we're planting into the ground. We'll dig a hole and we'll peel back the turf, but we'll plant several bulbs into the same hole. But again, we space them out so they're not actually touching each other.
Okay.
And again, ideally, the size of the bulb will dictate how far apart you want the bulbs to be.
Okay.
So if you can leave a space that's at least the size of the bulb
Okay,
apart
so like 1
as a
to 1.
spacing, then that works perfectly.
So you can plant these straight in the ground as well then?
Oh yeah, 100%. Daffodils particularly, along with snowdrops and some of the other spring bulbs, we'd start to plant those from September for people. It's just the big species tulips, which are the ones that we've looked at, the border tulips now, they're the ones that we tend to wait until November when it's colder.
Is that why?
Basically, if you plant them too early,
Yeah.
then they can suffer with a disease called tulip fire, which is a fungal disease. If it's too warm when you're planting it, it can encourage rot, and then your tulips will disappear and just won't flower. We've now planted up your bulbs,
Okay.
so you've got your pot ready, good to go.
It's quite loose. Is it supposed to be loose?
Yep, it's not going to do any harm at all. If it's too compacted, that's fine, that's all you need to do.
Okay. So when I take this home, what do I need to do to it?
Basically, this time of year now,
Yeah.
particularly with the weather and the rain just starting again, it doesn't need very much, if anything. What you wouldn't want to do is to stand this in any area that's going to sit in the ground.
Okay.
So if that makes sense.
So you want it
You want
elevated?
drainage, you want
Yeah.
it slightly elevated so it's going to drain.
Okay.
And again, that's why we put the stone at the base.
So I don't want to just put it down on some grass somewhere.
No, if you put it onto the grass, it can get too wet.
Okay.
The
What would
best thing to do on the garden is basically just to raise it off the ground, just as simply as
Ah, okay. Just give it some legs.
just give it some legs, and then it's got an inch or so of drainage underneath it.
Yeah. Do I need to feed it?
When all the shoots are coming up and it's just coming into flower, you can start to give it a feed then. Something like a tomato food or a high potash food would help to your flowers to develop for next year.
Okay, so that would be the kind of thing to do February, March kind of time.
Yeah, once it's coming into flower.
Yeah.
Once it's coming into flower, it just helps to give it an extra pep.
Yeah.
But they will flower without doing anything else to it. Go, Lil. Come on. Come on. Good girl.